If we tell ourselves it doesn't matter, I'm going to overcome this just like I overcame that, just like I won in this scenario. Now we're going to take those actions because we had those types of emotions, which lead us to a life of abundance, purpose, and persistence. What's up, family? Thank you for tuning in to the Dream Nation podcast. My name is Casanova. I'll be your host, and I'm excited to be bringing to you entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and trailblazers from around the world. Stay locked in with us because we're about to go on a journey that will change your life. Today, I was just reading an article, and I really wanted to share this with you all today. And it was talking about Jeff Bezos and basically how his morning routine is so much different from other billionaires and multi-millionaires like Bill Gates and Tim Ferriss and all these other guys who talk about their morning routine is a high one. Well, what Jeff Bezos has said was he wakes up, first off, he has to make sure that he gets 8 hours of sleep. And after he gets his 8 hours of sleep, he starts his day off slowly while he's sipping coffee, hanging out with his family, making sure that he interacts and hangs with the kids before they have to go off to school. And then even after that, around 10 a.m. is when he really starts his day and he gets into his highly intense meetings. Now, I thought that was really interesting. And the reason why I wanted to bring this to you all is because it's all about how we're pre-framed. Right? If we were to ask, I remember we were at the 10X Growth Conference, which was a couple weeks ago with Grant Cardone, and Tai Lopez got up on the stage. Now, Tai Lopez was the first one who brought this to my attention for me to really take a note to look at it again, because he had talked about what's the perfect morning routine. And a lot of people in the audience raised their hand and someone said, make sure you brush your teeth, saying jokes. But then other people were really serious and they were like making sure that you can get up and, you hit the gym in the morning, or you run a mile in the morning, whatever it might be. And so depriving yourself of sleep, because we're all taught and pre-framed that you need to get up as early as possible. I mean, we've all heard the quote, early bird meets the worm. But if we look at the richest man in the world, clearly he has a different perception of this. He has, no, I need to make sure that I get as much sleep as possible. And that's the way that I'm going to be the most successful. On top of that, I don't need to make 100 decisions throughout the day. As a high level executive, whether that means that you're the CEO of your own company or if you're senior management at a big Fortune 100, 250, 500 company, what he's saying is what you get paid to do is to make 1 to 2 high quality level decisions, which goes against everything that we're mostly taught. And this is why we have to educate ourselves, and we always have to ask why. Because as a young kid, all of your teachers, all of your, parents, everything, they're going to say, you need to wake up early. You need to get your mind right, everything else, where he's saying you need to be slow. You need to be methodical, and you need to understand how your body operates, which I thought was really, really a cool, interesting concept, right? Now, this isn't for everybody, because some people, they're going to understand that they're best suited by getting up early because that's when they're the most productive. But what I think, again, is most important is you have to figure out what works for you, because what worked for, Tim Ferriss or Jack Dorsey or Dave Ramsey or any of these other people didn't work for Jeff Bezos, and clearly he's won with this method. That's the tip that I wanted to bring to you all today. Don't be pre-wired and thinking that what's worked for someone else might work for you, or because it didn't work for someone else doesn't mean that it won't work for you. It's all about the pre-frame wiring of our mind. I know another thing that Tai Lopez has said, which struck a chord in my mind, was how much are we focusing on self-development? And what I mean by that is he was really talking about the context of a lot of the times people, when you ask a question of why somebody isn't successful, they're always going to point the finger at someone else. We're going to say, oh, my boss didn't want to let me have this day off, so I couldn't go do X, Y, or Z. Or we're going to say my kids, they have all these things going on, so I couldn't go. They have a baseball game or they have soccer or whatever else. So I couldn't do what I needed to do to take care of me. But what I found with studying all of these successful people is once you pay yourself first, that's when you have enough money left over to be able to give to someone else. Let's think about that. If you're always giving, at the end, you're going to be taxed regardless, right? Just think about it as the money system. And when you go to that 9 to 5 and you work, eventually they're going to tax you. You can either allow them to tax you on the front end, and then you can spend what's left. In a sense, you could be your own owner, your own business owner, and you can allow them to tax you on the back end. right? Which means that you're going to pay yourself first. You're going to take care of yourself first. You're going to make sure that your mind, body, your soul is where it needs to be for you to be running on full speed, for you to be running at a high level. And then in the back end, you're going to take care of everyone else around you, but you're going to have that much more capacity to be able to do it at a high level. So that's something that I think is very important. We have to figure out, where are we developing ourselves first and foremost? What books are we reading? What podcasts are we listening to? What circle are we engaging in every single day? If you have a job, are you at the water cooler at the end of the day? Are you, when you go to the bathroom, can you not wait to get into a bitch and moan session, right? To talk about what so-and-so, it doesn't even have to be a bitch and moan session. It could be a gossip session, talking about what so-and-so is already doing. When at the end of the day, that so-and-so and what they're doing, they're taking away your energy, but they're not helping you to level up, because you focusing on what someone else is doing, whether it's positive or negative, most of the time, if we're honest with ourselves, it's negative. Why? Because controversy sells. Anytime that we can throw a pity party, anytime that we can have something else that relates, a problem that relates, we feel like we're getting validation. That's why it's so easy to say, man, did you see the way he was talking to her? Right? He talked to me like that too. Boom. What's someone else going to say? Yeah, I know. He tried to test me like that as well. You instantly got validation, which means that that person has empathy for where you're coming from, and now you can connect better. The problem is you're connecting on a level that's not going to help you level up. That's not going to help you get further. Now you both just living in the woe is me mentality. So you have to figure out, who are the people that are a couple steps ahead, that always are focused on positivity, that always have something going for them. Because if you can latch on to them and you could say, you know what, I am going through it today, but he's over here smiling and he had the same thing happen to him last week. Let me ask, how did you get past that? And then they're going to tell you and you're like, oh, so that's the trick. Okay, I got you. And now your brain is always trying to figure out how I can figure out the way to react in a different manner, right? Because a lot of the times that's what we're not doing. We're instantly reacting with what we already know. Well, if you react with what you already know, you're going to get what you've already gotten. And a lot of times those are going to be the feelings that keep you stuck where you already are. So that's very important to think about. Who are the people that are always positive? Who are the people that always have something else going for them? If you can figure out who those people are and you can latch onto them, bring value to them and get into their circle, you're going to be so much better off. I promise you that, because they're going to teach you how you can develop your mindset to build the next person that's coming behind you. And then you're going to start to see you're that person that everyone's going to. And then they're going to come back to you and they're going to say, oh my God, the response that you gave me allowed me to change around my day. And I'm going to tell you, I then went and picked up my kids and they told me that they seen a different me, and that made me feel so good. Right? And it's all about the feelings that we get. But where do we get the feelings and the emotions from? If we back that up a second, we get them from the stories that we tell ourselves. If we tell ourselves a story that says that we're the victim, that we're always being oppressed, no matter what the circumstance is, then we're going to feel like the victim, which causes us to take the actions of a victim. And that does not help us to level up. If we tell ourselves it doesn't matter, I'm going to overcome this just like I overcame that, just like I won in this scenario. Now we're going to take those actions because we had those types of emotions, which lead us to a life of abundance, purpose, and persistence. I think, again, the number one tip that you have to make sure is that you focus on yourself. You focus on how your body reacts to certain things. And the second thing is that you focus on your personal development and your growth. Because at the end of the day, that's all you're going to have is the memories. And so those memories can either be positive or negative. But I promise you, if the end in mind is a positive experience, if that's what the story that you're telling yourself, that's how you'll have positive memories at the end. So that's my tip for you all today. So hopefully you guys liked it. Casanova coming at you again. I appreciate you listening. In the dream we trust, but we must remember that if we take action, all is waiting for us. If not, it's only merely a fantasy. We'll talk soon. That's all we got for this episode. Thank you for sticking around. That truly means a lot to me, and hopefully that means that we delivered massive value on this one. If you haven't already, the way that you could say thank you
to myself and the team is just by heading over to iTunes and leaving a review and a rating. That's what iTunes loves to see. That's how we get out there even more. And I would definitely be grateful for it. I know the team would as well. Do me a favor and head on over to dreamnationpodcast.com. That's where you're going to be able to find all of the resources that we talked about in today's episode, as well as more exclusive content. And you'll also be able to sign up to our email list where we have more exclusive content. And we always love to hear the feedback from you all because you're our tribe. So remember, in the dream we trust, we'll see you on the flip side.